so interesting.
So I want to ask. So you know how you said with your, I know we're going back a bit, but you said with your male friend, he kind of opened up to you like in a vulnerable way that he hadn't for a long time. I think there are so many women who want to be able to get that from the man that they're dating, or even their boyfriend if they're in a relationship, but they're not getting that vulnerability from him. So what would you say to them to help them be like, hey, this is a way you can bring this side out of your man to help connect on a deeper level?
Ooh.
She's not a therapist yet, but it's coming.
It's coming.
That's how we're here.
It's coming. I mean, do you know what it is? A lot of it is being a good listener.
Okay.
Letting him speak.
Yeah.
You've got to show him that you're safe before you even ask him to open up. I'm thinking about it because it's not something I have consciously thought of in terms of this is what I do to get him to get it. It's almost like it's who I am. I don't know. But there are things that I'm doing. I just need to be conscious of them.
Yes.
I mean, some of it is I ask questions.
Yeah.
I ask questions. I pick a man's brain.
Yeah.
But ask questions in a way that doesn't feel like you're onto them kind of thing. Yeah. Like you might be like, how did that make you feel? And just the way you asked is like, actually, I felt like this, you know?
100%.
I remember I had a guy that I dated before, and he was a boxer, and he won his match. He won a match that he had within 26 seconds. Wow. Yeah, very fast.
Come on.
I was even not impressed. As in, I went to the back. I was like, wait, is this done? Like, what? I paid money and 26 seconds? Nah. Like, I was like, no, we need to go again. Let's go again.
Let's go again.
I need to see a fight. And I remember when we spoke after, we just sat and I was like, what went through your head as you were fighting?
Yeah.
This guy starts listing off a whole bunch of things. Like, and after he finished, I was like, can you believe that was all within 26 seconds?
Yeah.
And he was like, whoa, no, for real, kind of thing. I was like, you had all those thoughts running through you. And he was like, no one else has asked me that, you know? So it's that. I think a lot of it is being inquisitive. And it's almost like you're asking in such an innocent way. Like, so why did you do that? Yeah. Like you there's a way you can ask questions that makes people want to talk. Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost, I mean, the second you said, you know, what was running through your head, I'm like, fucking great question.
Yeah.
And it's like you're asking to understand who he is.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I'm not saying this is not all the case, but guys, we're used to asking, so why haven't you done this for me?
Yeah. Yeah, it's literally all in the way that you ask.
Yeah.
It's all in the way that you ask. Because even, for example, when my guy went a bit quiet, you know, in our conversation, one of the things I said was your presence, like, is genuinely so appreciated. Like, you're just such a masculine man. I can be such a girl around you, and I missed you, kind of thing. And it made him melt.
Of course.
But usually before, why did you go quiet? Where were you? Like, instead of me saying I missed you, I come with anger. Right. And then it then comes across like, how dare you not give me your time? Yeah. Then he starts to run away more. Like, I can see how I made men run away. Yeah. I can see it. Yeah. I can see it. I can see how I was. Yeah. Too much. I genuinely can see it. I remember I went to my bestie the other day. I was like, I've realised I'm too much. She was like, oh, only now.
Your bestie's like, oh, you've known for time? You never told me?
Like,
you're my best friend. Just tell me.
Girl. Yeah, she was like, you could be a lot, but it's a lot at the same time, kind of thing. Bless her. She tried to reassure me.
Yeah, 100%. I think the energy is great. It's that avenue in which you deliver it. That's all.
Yeah, and trust me, I can pack a punch when I want to.
I believe you.
As lovely as I can be, like, this tongue can be used for weapons.
100%.
As a weapon, sorry. So again, I can see how, like, that you never do this, or you always, and again, I can articulate myself quite well.
Yes.
So I can convince a man that he's done something wrong in something neutral. And so you can imagine I've drained some men before. There's one particular guy I know I drained him with my anxious attachment. I remember him messaging me at some point. He's like, "Do you need a hug?" Like, because he just didn't know what to do. Like, I couldn't find any relief to satisfy this feeling of I'm good enough because he hadn't made me his girl. So I was like constantly, what is this? What is this? What is this? Right. And now I have a friend who's in that situation and keeps asking the guy. Now I can recognize how that's too much.
Yeah.
Because I'm outside of it, you know. Yes. She keeps, what are we? And I'm like, why are you even still here? As in that their situation has been long, over a year.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
so
okay, yes.
After a while, it's just like, stop asking. Just stop. Yeah. I also did the same thing, you know? So
yeah, 100%. Okay, I want to ask something else.
I'm going to ask you though.
Go for it.
Dating wise. Like,
go for it.
You asked me a question. What did you say? What would someone say, or what have you learned about yourself as a man in a good way and a bad way, relationship wise?
Relationship to women.
Let's go.
That is very, very good question.
You thought you could just come for me.
No, I was trying to like skip out on that one. I respect it. I respect the accountability.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start with the bad. One thing I learned about myself in my own journey to women that I was like, oh, I need to change that, was I very much used to believe that if I didn't have the leverage, she wouldn't respect me. And this was part of my own
reflection,
but realizing this was something from, when I say my childhood. So, and for the record, anyone, you know, I was very close to my dad, loved him to pieces, but he was a very typical Nigerian man. And so a lot when we would clash, because I'm very opinionated, here we are. And so sometimes we would clash. He would say things like, if you talk to me like that again, I'm going to take your PlayStation away from you. Or, if you do this, then you're not going to be able to do this, whatever, because obviously it was his house.
Yeah.
And obviously anything that I had, he had paid for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or anything that, if I was going somewhere, it's because he was taking me or whatever it is. And my dad was one of those people where he would never actually follow through with that threat. He would just use it as leverage in an argument to try and make me behave the way he wanted me to behave. And so I used to very much, so I remember we were in an argument. I said to him, I was like, because it's very, normal that when you're buying your first place, you ask your parents to help you with the deposit, right? I remember saying to him, we're in an argument, I was like, this is why I would never ask you a deposit when I get my first place, because we're not going to have some argument and then you're going to try and hold that over me as leverage in some kind of argument, right? And I really made a point of that. And then when I did get my place, he was like, oh, he's serious, like, because I did it off my own back, all of this stuff is, and
well done.
I appreciate it.
But that also must have been a lot. Yeah, that must have been a lot.
Yeah. And it's interesting because that indirect learning from my relationship with him has helped me in many ways business-wise. It's really helped me. But I was bringing that into some of my relationships and I realized that's not healthy. It's not good for me to do that. And it wasn't like, for example...
In what way would you bring it into relationships?
So, for example, I would think that if we were gonna like go out somewhere, right, and I had sorted it out for us, it'd be okay, well, she's gonna show up as her best because I've sorted it out and I have the leverage in the situation because I've paid for everything, I've planned the day, all of this stuff, right? And even to the point of, like, for example, when I remember one time when this was an ex of mine, where we went to, I went to Cornwall with her family and stuff, and we got into this argument, and she was saying that, she was saying, oh, you didn't help me with dinner and stuff. And I was like, okay, yeah, but I also drove us here. Who paid for the car? I did. Who paid for the petrol? I did. Okay. I also bought the food. Who did all that? I did. Okay. So it's like, and I was using that as almost leverage for the argument, where it's like, sure, I did those things, but I did those things because I wanted to do those things for you, not to use as leverage in an argument. Do you know what I mean? And I realized that I was doing that, and I was like, where's that come from? I was like, oh, that's my dad. That's the relationship with my dad.
Well done, though, for realizing. So this is a big deal. Like, honestly,
I'm just being real, man.
Well done. No, that's a big deal.
Yeah. And
it's a big deal.
It's interesting because sometimes we can, with our parents, we go, okay, I love my parents for this, but that I don't like this part. And then you become an adult. You're like, oh my gosh, I've had that part in me. I've been behaving that way, and that's from them, you know, indirectly. So that was something that I really had to check myself for, if I'm being honest.
Well done for clocking it.
I appreciate it.
Because some people don't get there. They don't.
It's true. And then I'd say the positive thing I would say is that I don't know. I don't know if it's because I'm an older brother and I have younger sisters and stuff, but I think as I have in my journey, as I have maybe accrued more in my life, got to a better position, that makes me want to take care of the women in my life more, especially the woman in my life, right? Like, you know, if I can do more to take care of her, then I'm going to.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's very easy when, you know, if you're building yourself up and you've, you know, accrued some stuff for yourself, there can be such a tight attachment to it, because it's like, I know how hard I worked for this and no one's going to get nothing. Do you know what I mean? But then at the same time, I'm like, well, you know, if I'm in a relationship with someone, that means I am taking her seriously. And it's like, okay, it means that I see her as the mother of my children. If I can't really take care of the mother of my children, who can I do that for? Who am I going to do that for? So it's interesting. The more I have been blessed with certain things in life, the more that makes me want to share with especially the woman that I care about. Does that make sense?
Makes absolute sense.
And I think that's just part of, ironically, I probably say I got that from my dad too, because he's one of those people where he's one of those people, like, he did very well for himself. So if you come as a guest to his house, you won't want for anything. He'll like whatever food, drink you want, you have the nice courses, everything. He's always been very generous. He was like, he even sponsored a few, you know, Nigerian students to study in England. He paid for their education and stuff.
Okay, he's done very well.
Yeah, he did well for himself. Do you know what I mean?
For your dad. I get it.
And so I think it's, I think for me, I'm like, that's something I really admired about him. And I don't know, I think that was just very much instilled in me, especially because maybe I'm the eldest boy as well. I'm the eldest.
Yeah. So. From what you're saying, it sounds like your good and bad is the double-edged sword.
Very much so, yeah.
It's the same thing, but
100%.
Aspects, yeah.
So it's about like you. It's like when that demon comes out, you're like, you have to check it, because you're like, wait a minute, I know this feeling, and this is not conducive for what I'm wanting.
Hope you really enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch the full episode where that clip is from, then I want you to click right here where you can watch the full episode. And if you're ready to claim your man today, enroll in my program below, and I'll see you there. Wishing you an amazing day.